My colleague stood in front of 100 people at my own farewell party and said, "Let's be real, Natalie's been coasting for years. I'm the one who's been carrying this team." Everyone laughed. My boss nodded. My coworkers smirked. I stood there, humiliated, feeling like I'd been erased. Then the CEO stepped up to the microphone. "Actually," he said, his voice cutting through the room, "there's something everyone needs to know about Natalie's contributions." And what he revealed destroyed her completely. My name is Natalie Park, and I'm 31 years old. I worked at Vertex Solutions, a tech consulting firm in Charlotte, North Carolina, for 7 years. It was my first real job out of college. I started as a junior analyst and worked my way up to senior project manager. I loved that job. I loved the work, the clients, the challenges. I poured everything into it. But 6 months ago, I got an offer I couldn't refuse. A competitor company, Summit Tech, reached out and offered me a director position with a 40% salary increase. It was a huge opportunity. So I gave my notice. 2 weeks. Standard procedure. My manager, Richard, seemed supportive. He said he was happy for me. He said I deserved it. He even offered to throw me a farewell party on my last day. I thought it was a nice gesture. I didn't realize it was a setup. The person who made my life hell for the past 3 years was my colleague, Dana Reeves. She was a senior consultant, same level as me, and she'd been with the company for 5 years. From the moment I got promoted to her level, Dana hated me. She never said it outright, but I felt it. The cold looks, the dismissive comments, the way she'd undermine me in meetings, then smile and act like we were friends. At first, I tried to win her over. I asked her to lunch. I complimented her work. I tried to collaborate. She shut me down every time. Eventually, I stopped trying. I focused on my work and avoided her as much as possible. But Dana didn't avoid me. She made it her mission to undermine everything I did. If I pitched an idea in a meeting, she'd find a way to criticize it. If I led a project, she'd complain to Richard that I wasn't communicating well. If a client praised my work, she'd find a way to take credit. It was exhausting. But I kept pushing through because I loved the work. Then, about a year ago, something changed. Dana and I were both assigned to lead a major project for one of our biggest clients, a financial services company called Meridian Group. The project was worth $2 million and involved redesigning their entire data infrastructure. It was high profile, high pressure, and it could make or break both of our careers. Richard assigned us as co-leads. He said we needed to work together, collaborate, share responsibilities. I agreed. I wanted it to work. Dana smiled and said all the right things in front of Richard. But the moment he left the room, her smile disappeared. "Don't get in my way," she said. I stared at her. "We're supposed to be working together." "No," she said coldly. "I'm leading this project. You're just here to make me look good." I didn't respond. I just walked away. And I made a decision. If Dana wanted to play dirty, I'd play smart. Over the next 6 months, I worked harder than I ever had in my life. I documented everything. Every meeting. Every decision. Every task I completed. Every email I sent. I didn't do it to sabotage Dana. I did it to protect myself. Because I knew she'd try to take credit for my work. And I wasn't going to let that happen. The Meridian project was brutal. Long hours, constant client revisions, tight deadlines. But we delivered. And the client loved it. They called it transformative. They said it exceeded their expectations. They told Richard it was the best work they'd ever received from a consulting firm. Richard was thrilled. He praised both of us in front of the entire company. But behind closed doors, Dana told him it was all her. She said I'd been difficult to work with. That I'd slowed the project down. That she'd had to redo most of my work. Richard didn't question it. He believed her. And when it came time for performance reviews, Dana got a raise and a promotion. I got a generic, "good job," and nothing else. I was furious. But I didn't say anything. Because I had documentation. And I knew my time would come. 3 months later, I got the offer from Summit Tech. I accepted immediately. When I told Richard the first was leaving, he seemed surprised. "You're one of our top performers," he said. "Are you sure about this?" "I'm sure," I said. He nodded. "Well, we'll miss you. Let's make sure we give you a proper send-off." He organized a farewell party for my last day. The entire office was invited. There would be food, drinks, speeches. Richard said a few people wanted to say some words about me. I thought it would be nice. The day of the party arrived. It was held in the main conference room, decorated with balloons and a banner that said, "Good luck, Natalie." About 100 people showed up, coworkers, managers, even a few clients I'd worked with. I stood near the food table, trying to enjoy the moment, but I felt uneasy. Something about the energy in the room felt off. Richard gave the first speech. He talked about my time at the company, my contributions, how much I'd be missed. It was nice. Generic, but nice. Then Dana stood up. "I'd like to say a few words," she said, smiling. My stomach dropped. She walked to the front of the room, holding a glass of wine, looking confident and polished. "Natalie and I worked together on a lot of projects over the years," Dana began. "And I just want to say, it's been an experience." A few people chuckled. "Natalie's a hard worker," Dana continued. "But let's be real, she's been coasting for the past few years. I don't want to take anything away from her, but the truth is, I've been the one carrying this team." The room went silent. I felt my face burning. "The Meridian Project?" Dana said, her tone dripping with false modesty. "That was 90% me. Natalie helped, sure. But I was the one who made it happen." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. She was rewriting history. In front of everyone. "And honestly," Dana continued, "I think Natalie's leaving is probably for the best. She's reached her ceiling here. Maybe Summit Tech will be a better fit for someone at her level." A few people laughed nervously. Others looked uncomfortable. But no one said anything. I stood there, frozen, humiliated, feeling like I was being erased. Dana raised her glass. "So here's to Natalie. Thanks for your time here. Good luck with whatever comes next." Everyone awkwardly raised their glasses. I didn't move. Then I heard footsteps behind me. I turned around and saw the CEO, Jonathan Blake. He rarely came to these kinds of events. He was usually too busy. But there he was, standing in the doorway, his expression unreadable. He walked to the front of the room, his presence commanding immediate silence. "Dana," he said calmly. "That was an interesting speech." Dana smiled, clearly not sensing the danger. "Thank you, Jonathan. I just wanted to be honest." "Honest," Jonathan repeated. "Well, since we're being honest, I think there's something everyone here needs to know." He pulled out his phone and connected it to the projector screen. "About 6 months ago," Jonathan said, "I received an anonymous tip. Someone told me that credit was being misattributed on the Meridian project. So I launched a quiet internal review." My heart started pounding. Dana's smile faltered. "I had our audit team pull every email, every document, every meeting note related to that project," Jonathan continued. "And what they found was very interesting." He tapped his phone, and a spreadsheet appeared on the screen. "This is a breakdown of task completion on the Meridian project," Jonathan said. "Every deliverable, every milestone, every client communication." He pointed to the screen. Dana Reeves completed 23% of the project tasks. Natalie Park completed 68%. The remaining 9% was completed by junior staff. The room erupted in whispers. Dana's face went white. "But that's not all," Jonathan said. He tapped his phone again, and an email chain appeared on the screen. "This is an email Dana sent to Richard 6 months ago." He read it aloud. "Richard, I wanted to update you on the Meridian project. I've been doing most of the heavy lifting. Natalie's contributions have been minimal. I think it's important you know this when it comes time for performance reviews." The room was silent. Jonathan looked at Dana. The problem, Dana, is that this email was sent the same day Natalie delivered 3 major client presentations. Presentations you didn't attend. Dana opened her mouth to speak, but nothing came out. Jonathan tapped his phone again. Another document appeared. This is a client satisfaction survey from Meridian Group. They were asked to rate their interactions with our team. Natalie received a 10 out of 10. You received a 6. He paused. They also left a comment. It says, Natalie was exceptional. Dana was difficult to work with and often unprepared. Dana's hands were shaking. That's not. There's more, Jonathan said, cutting her off. He pulled up another email. This is a message you sent to one of our junior analysts. You asked him to forward you Natalie's project files so you could review them. But what you actually did was copy her work and present it as your own in a meeting with Richard. The room gasped. That's corporate plagiarism, Jonathan said coldly. And it's grounds for immediate termination. Dana looked like she was going to collapse. Jonathan turned to the room. Natalie Park is one of the most talented, hardworking, and ethical employees this company has ever had. She didn't coast. She carried. And instead of recognizing that, we let someone take credit for her work. He looked directly at me. Natalie, I owe you an apology. This company owes you an apology. I couldn't speak. I just stood there, shaking, tears streaming down my face. Jonathan turned back to Dana. You're fired. Effective immediately. Security will escort you out. Dana's face crumpled. No. Please. I didn't. You did, Jonathan said firmly. And you've been doing it for years. The audit uncovered 3 other projects where you took credit for other people's work. Dana looked around the room, desperate, searching for someone to defend her. But no one moved. No one spoke. 2 security guards appeared at the door. Dana Reeves, one of them said. Please come with us. Dana stood there for a moment, frozen, her face red, her eyes filled with tears. Then she grabbed her purse and walked out, her head down, her shoulders shaking. The room remained silent until she was gone. Then Jonathan turned to me. Natalie, I know you're leaving. And I understand why. But I want you to know, if you ever want to come back, the door is open. And if there's anything I can do to support you in your new role, please let me know. I nodded, unable to find words. He extended his hand. I shook it. The room erupted in applause. People came up to me, hugging me, apologizing, telling me they'd always known I was the real talent. Some of them looked ashamed. They'd laughed at Dana's speech. They'd stood by while she humiliated me. But I didn't care about them anymore. I cared about the truth. And the truth had finally come out. It's been 3 months since that farewell party. 3 months since Dana was exposed. 3 months since I walked out of Vertex Solutions for the last time. I started my new job at Summit Tech. It's everything I hoped it would be. I lead a team of 12 people. I manage high-stakes projects. I work with clients who respect me, value me, and trust my judgment. And for the first time in years, I feel appreciated. A few weeks after I left, I got an email from Jonathan. He told me that after Dana was fired, 3 other employees came forward with complaints about her. Apparently, she'd been bullying people, taking credit for their work, and creating a toxic environment for years. HR launched a full investigation. They found evidence of misconduct on at least 6 different projects. Dana tried to fight the termination. She hired a lawyer and claimed she was being unfairly targeted. But the evidence was overwhelming. Her case was dismissed. Last I heard, she's struggling to find work. Word got around in the industry about what she did. No one wants to hire someone with a reputation for plagiarism and credit theft. I don't feel good about that. I'm not vindictive. I don't take pleasure in her downfall. But I don't feel bad either. Because she did this to herself. A few weeks ago, I ran into Richard, my old manager, at a conference. He looked uncomfortable when he saw me. Natalie, he said. I owe you an apology. Yeah, I said. You do. I should have listened to you. I should have questioned Dana's version of events. I didn't think she'd lie. She didn't just lie, I said. She stole. And you enabled her. He nodded, looking ashamed. I know. I'm sorry. Apology accepted, I said. But it doesn't change what happened. I know, he said quietly. We talked for a few more minutes, but it felt hollow. The damage was done. Trust, once broken, doesn't just come back. At Summit Tech, I've made it a priority to create the kind of environment I wished I'd had at Vertex. I make sure my team gets credit for their work. I check in with them regularly. I listen when they have concerns. And I document everything. Not out of paranoia, but out of responsibility. Because I know what it's like to be invisible. To work hard and have someone else take the credit. To feel like your contributions don't matter. I never want anyone on my team to feel that way. One of the best moments of the past few months happened last week. I got a message on LinkedIn from one of the junior analysts at Vertex, the same guy Dana had asked to steal my files. His name is Kevin. Natalie, he wrote. I just wanted to reach out and say thank you. After what happened with Dana, I realized I'd been enabling her behavior. I didn't speak up when I should have. I'm sorry. But watching you stand tall through all of that inspired me to be braver. I reported a similar situation happening on my current team, and management took action. I just wanted you to know you made a difference. I read that message 3 times, tears in my eyes. Because that's what it's all about. Not revenge. Not destroying someone who wronged you. It's about standing up for what's right. It's about protecting your work, your integrity, your truth. And it's about inspiring others to do the same. Looking back, I don't regret staying silent for as long as I did. I needed that time to build my case, to document everything, to protect myself. But I'm glad I didn't stay silent forever. Because the truth always comes out. Maybe not immediately. Maybe not in the way you expect. But it comes out. And when it does, it's powerful. A few days ago, I got another email from Jonathan. He told me that Vertex had implemented new policies to prevent what happened with Dana from happening again. They now require peer reviews on all major projects. They conduct regular audits of task completion and credit attribution. And they've created an anonymous reporting system for employees who feel they're being mistreated or overlooked. This is because of you, Jonathan wrote. You forced us to look at ourselves and do better. Thank you. I appreciated the email. But I also felt sad. Because these changes should have been in place all along. They shouldn't have needed someone to get hurt before they decided to act. But that's how it goes sometimes. Systems don't change until they're forced to. Last night, I was going through old files on my computer, and I found a document I'd forgotten about. It was a journal entry I'd written 2 years ago, back when Dana's behavior was at its worst. I'd written, I feel invisible. I feel like no matter how hard I work, no one sees me. No one values me. I don't know how much longer I can do this. Reading that broke my heart. Because I remembered how I felt when I wrote it. Hopeless. Exhausted. Defeated. But I kept going. I didn't give up. I didn't quit. And eventually, the truth came out. If you're reading this and you're in a similar situation, if someone is taking credit for your work, undermining you, making you feel invisible, please hear me. Document everything. Protect yourself. And don't stay silent forever. You deserve to be seen. You deserve to be valued. And you deserve to be credited for your work. It won't be easy. It won't be comfortable. And it might cost you relationships or opportunities in the short term. But in the long term, it's worth it. Because your integrity, your truth, and your self-respect are more valuable than any job, any promotion, any approval from people who don't see your worth. I'm 31 years old, and I've learned more in the past year than I did in the previous 10. I've learned that hard work isn't always rewarded fairly. I've learned that toxic people will take advantage of you if you let them. I've learned that staying silent doesn't protect you, it just makes you an easier target. And I've learned that standing up for yourself, even when it's terrifying, is the most powerful thing you can do. Dana took credit for my work for years. She humiliated me in front of 100 people. She tried to destroy my reputation on my way out the door. But she didn't win. Because the truth came out. And the truth was stronger than her lies. I'm not angry anymore. I'm not bitter. I'm just free. Free from a toxic workplace. Free from people who didn't value me. Free from the weight of staying silent. And I'm building something better. For myself. For my team. For everyone who's ever felt invisible. If this story resonated with you, drop a comment below. Share your experiences. Let's support each other. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories about standing up, speaking out, and reclaiming your power. Thanks for listening.